Good morning, everybody. How you doing? We are having a webinar on FXCAD 2021. My, how time flies, right? Our first FXCAD was 2012, and boy, that feels like a long time ago. Um, we are going to show you some neat stuff, all the latest and greatest with this version. I just want to mention, most importantly, the little Q&A button down there at the bottom of your screen. In fact, I'm going to click mine right now, and I recommend you click yours as well, because even if you don't have a question right now, get it up and ready so that you can type in a question a little faster. But I don't know if you noticed, but you can see what we type out to other people's questions as answers. So it just makes a fun little companion while you're watching the webinar. And we are recording this, so it'll be available for you, but it's more fun live, so I'm glad you're here live. But that's it for me. I'm going to get this hand over to Paul, and we're going to take it away.
All right, thank you, Chair. Hello and good morning, everybody. Welcome to another FXCAD webinar. On Monday, we released FXCAD 2021, and we want to take you on a tour and show you what FXCAD is, as well as some new features that are available this time around. My name is Paul Houchin, and I will be narrating this webinar. So here's a bit of a rundown of what we're going to be getting into today. First off, we're going to go over what is FXCAD, and I'm going to take you on a little tour behind the scenes of what we do to offer this great product. Then we're going to move on to what FXCAD can do, support, pricing, why, if you're already using FXCAD, you should upgrade to 2021. Then I'll show a bit of the installation process, and then we'll move on to the new features that are available in 2021. So first off, what is FXCAD? FXCAD is AutoCAD. It is AutoCAD that is sold and supported by us. And the purpose of FXCAD is to provide a platform for LandFX to run on without having to buy or subscribe to the full version of AutoCAD. So FXCAD does require that you have a LandFX license to run. But even though it is called FXCAD, it is a genuine AutoCAD engine that we are licensed to use. So also the engine is a perpetual license, which means that you don't have to pay a subscription fee to keep working in it. Once you buy your version of FXCAD, that is yours to keep. It's important to note that it is a PC-only product, so if you are like us and you work on Macs, you'll need to run Parallels or another virtual machine to have Windows running as well. So what goes on in the background when we create FXCAD 20, or what we did with FXCAD 2021? As soon as AutoCAD 2021 was released, we started working on FXCAD. Right off the bat, we installed AutoCAD 2021 and began testing to find out what tools can work with LandFX, and so that we know the ins and outs of AutoCAD 2021. And so we really just dove into all those features. When we create FXCAD, each year the ribbon is fully customized. We move around the tools that are available for AutoCAD to meet the needs of landscape architects and irrigation designers. As you might know, AutoCAD is a robust piece of software for drafting 2D and 3D models. And this program is not field specific. The software is used by architects, electrical engineers, civil engineers, mechanical engineers, graphic designers, a whole plethora of different professions use AutoCAD because it's a great drafting program. But it's not specified in any way. So what we do with FXCAD is really narrow it down to be used by our profession. And so that's what we do with the ribbons. We kind of take out a lot of the extra items that aren't really needed for landscape architects or irrigation designers. We simplify it and just try to make it as easy to use as possible. The whole ribbon project is headed by landscape architect Amanda Berry on staff, and she goes through and really optimizes and customizes the ribbons to be used efficiently for this profession. And so it's really great that, or it's good to know that the customization of these menus and the way that you work with AutoCAD now is being done by someone who knows the field and has used Land Effects and AutoCAD in a professional setting. Meanwhile, developers begin to alter the installer. Mike Bennett, here in the office, takes the reins for this task. And basically what he does is he tweaks the installation files, removes unnecessary components that come with AutoCAD, and really just optimizes AutoCAD for your use. Additionally, the branding for FXCAD begins to take shape. We come up with a new look for the imagery, and when we like the way that the branding looks, we work with development on replacing all of the AutoCAD icons, loading imagery, and splash screen. When the branding is settled and we like the way it looks, we start building the web presence. So our web department, Kyler Groner and Forrest Williams, work on making sure that the latest FXCAD will be properly showcased and accessible on our website as soon as it is released. And when the different components are ready, Bennett then compiles everything into an installer. And this is distributed throughout the support team and everyone in the office that can be testing it so that we can be running it and finding out any issues with it. And we go through and test the software for weeks before it is released. At this time, our technical writer, Jason Hilford, creates the in-depth documentation for the installation and the activation pages. And after months of work on FXCAD and weeks of testing it, we are able to release it. And so on Monday, June 1st, 2020, we released FXCAD 2021. And the entire switch over from 2020 to 2021 took less than an hour. So great job on that. So let's take a look at what FXCAD can and can't do. First off, let's go through what it can't do. These are items in full version of AutoCAD that FXCAD just we're not able to provide with this product. So first off is it can't run auto Lisp scripts or other add-ons. It's not able to use live maps. It also can't use AutoCAD's rendering, lighting, or 3D commands. Additionally, Autodesk 360 and related features are not available, and it can't run without a Land Effects license, as I said before. Luckily, we find that the majority of landscape and irrigation designers do not need these items, especially when Land Effects provides all the tools to meet your professional needs. If you are unsure about the capabilities of FXCAD and what you need for your office, take a look at this list or go ahead and reach out to us via support ticket or phone call, and we can help you answer any of those questions that you might have on what you need for your office. Now let's take a look at the items that it can do. Notice it's a much bigger list. Probably most importantly is open, save, edit any version of DWG. You can also open DXF and DGN files. You can geolocate plans for export, insert raster images, import, export PDF, and so forth. Additionally, you have the access to the 3D connection for SketchUp, Rhino, and Revit. You can customize your interface and shortcuts just like you can with AutoCAD. And probably what is considered the best feature of going with FXCAD is that you get direct support from us. So speaking of support, let's go into that. The team that put FXCAD together is also the team that is here to help you with any issues that you might have with it. Our support is not outsourced. So if you call in or if you email us, it's going to be one of our team members responding. Autodesk does provide support, but they're moving towards a more chat-based support. So you don't get to hear who you're talking to. You can schedule a call, but you can only do that if you are a paying subscriber to AutoCAD. And I poked around a little bit in Autodesk support, and it took a while to set up. I wouldn't say it was exactly easy. And then even though it took a while to set up, it took even longer to get a response. And in addition to our great support, we provide documentation and video resources to cover all known questions and issues. And we hear from LandFX users, and sometimes even those that don't even use LandFX or FXCAD, that our documentation on CAD is more in-depth and more concise to real issues when it comes to working within AutoCAD, which is always fun to hear. So what does FXCAD cost? First off, it's kind of important to understand the licensing between FXCAD and AutoCAD. FXCAD, as I said before, is a perpetual license. And the initial cost for this is $15.95, which is actually a bit less than it was last year. Last year it was $19.95. And this includes all of our great tech support. And if you want to upgrade, which is optional, your FXCAD platform, you can do so when the new version is available. And that upgrade is only $500. If you choose to skip years, you can skip 2 to 5 years, and that cost goes from $500 to $995. But with AutoCAD, it's a subscription license. So you're going to be paying the same amount every year, or if you go monthly, or even they're pushing for a now 3-year renewal subscription. But that price on the right is the cost of AutoCAD right now at a yearly subscription price. So every year, if you buy AutoCAD right now, you'll be paying $16.90. And last year it was $1,610. So it's gone up by $80 since last year. And if you do have support questions or issues with AutoCAD, you have to go through Autodesk for support. And since it's not a perpetual license, if you don't pay your subscription fee, the product actually shuts down and is unusable. So let's take a look at what that looks like over time. So immediately on the initial purchase, you'll see that you're already saving money with FXCAD versus AutoCAD, no matter which way you go. But if you drag that out over 6 years, you're actually saving quite a bit of money. FXCAD, after 6 years, if you upgrade every year, is a little over $4,000. If you go with did I say AutoCAD? FXCAD does that. With AutoCAD, if you pay the yearly subscription fee over 6 years, it amounts to $10,000. Actually, more than that. If you go with the 3-year plan, it's a little bit cheaper per month, but still paying upwards of $10,000. And of course, if you do go with their monthly subscription, which is not on here, it's $210 per month. And if you drag that out, it comes up to around $15,000. So the price difference is pretty large, and gets larger as you go out in time. So why upgrade your existing license if you're already using FXCAD and it's it's perpetual, so it's yours. Why would you upgrade? And we recommend upgrading because every year that we release FXCAD, there are new features. And so keeping up with those new features is highly recommended. And also, if you choose to skip a couple of years and then suddenly 3 years down the road, you do decide to upgrade, that's 3 years of new features that you have to catch up on. And so it's a lot easier to learn the software and all the new capabilities if you do take it as they come out, 1 year at a time. Also, file formats change, and having the latest version of your software ensures that you will be able to open up any files that are maybe given to you from consultants or anybody else. So you're keeping up with the current format and making sure that you are compatible with no matter what comes down your way. Also, the cost is easier to budget if you upgrade every year because it's a set cost and it's lower than skipping years, and you can just factor that into an annual budget. And finally, if you upgrade every year, it encourages your office to keep up with computer maintenance. So who should use FXCAD? This list was compiled because, obviously there's the question of, do I need the full version of Autodesk or AutoCAD, or can I go with FXCAD? And if you're a LandFX user and you plan on continuing to use LandFX long-term, FXCAD is probably great for you. More often than not, FXCAD works to fit your needs. If you're a smaller firm or a single practitioner and you want to just reduce the cost of your CAD platform, FXCAD is great. If you don't already use LandFX, but you're used to using AutoCAD LT, the price is similar to that. And the way it works is actually very similar to AutoCAD LT anyways, but LandFX doesn't work with AutoCAD LT, so that's not an option. Also, those that want the latest version of AutoCAD, along with the insurance that will be completely compatible with LandFX from its release. If you've ever bought the newest version of AutoCAD, you probably know that LandFX isn't usually fully compatible with it right away. In fact, a lot of times it's released with some issues that are eventually fixed with what they used to do with service packs. So FXCAD is fully tested and ready to go from launch day. And obviously those who would rather work with our support team rather than Autodesk's. So let's take a look at what the installation looks like between AutoCAD and FXCAD. This is a screen grab after downloading the installer for AutoCAD on the left and then FXCAD on the right. You can see that there is quite a bit more that comes with AutoCAD besides just the CAD software. And notice that the disk space required on your computer is over 6 gigabytes. And on the right is FXCAD. It's less than 3 gigabytes required to install that. And above that is the workstation, which is the add-on LandFX. So already it's less than half the size of AutoCAD to go with FXCAD. And you know that you're just getting FXCAD when you install it. After you've gone through the installation process, you see that AutoCAD didn't just install. It also installed the App Manager, Featured Apps plugin, and Desktop app. After you install FXCAD, you just get FXCAD. And this is further exemplified if you look at your installed apps on your computer. I did this yesterday, and you can see that on the left, Autodesk installed quite a few items onto my machine when I just wanted to get AutoCAD. And then on the right, the only thing that was installed when I installed FXCAD was AutoCAD 2021. So let's take a look at some of the new features in 2021. One of the neat new features is the XREF compare. And what this is if you're familiar with AutoCAD 2020 or FXCAD 2020, there was a new feature called DWG compare, where if you can basically compare a newer version of a drawing on top of an existing version, and it would be pointed out the changes that were made in those. And now that's been applied to XREFs. So here you can see I had an XREF in a drawing. I opened the XREF and I made some changes to it. And when I reloaded that XREF into my drawing, you now see that there are changes. The green symbols there are new items or items that weren't there before, and the red have either been moved or deleted from the file. So if you make a lot of changes, or you don't, maybe you don't know what the changes exactly were, you can now compare what you have in your drawing compared to what you're loading back in. Another improvement is the break at point tool. And now break at point allows you to track along a line, or while you're tracking, you can input an exact length to break the line apart. The trim and extend have been improved as well. Now, when you enable the trim command, quick mode is the default setting. So you no longer have to pick your trimming edges or go through the menu and choose quick mode. So you can just quickly activate the trim command and start trimming right away. And also the crossing selection or window selection is now not the default. You can hold down your mouse and drag around and it will create a fencing line. And I'll show these off here shortly. Another improvement are rev clouds. Revision clouds are now their own AutoCAD object. So when you place a rev cloud in a drawing, it's not a series of polylines connected. It's a rev cloud. So you can open up your properties, and after you place your rev cloud, you can actually adjust the arc length instead of having to redraw it. And now the improved quick measure tool. Quick measure before allowed you to click within an area and see what the area and perimeter are for a boundary, or within a boundary. But now you can hold down the shift key and add more areas as you click around, and it'll actually add up those areas on the perimeter and give you a preview of what those are. And finally, we improved the ribbon customization with FXCAD 2021. For the new AutoCAD tools that came in, we added those to the ribbon, as well as we switched out some of the more basic AutoCAD tools like Lay ISO and Lay Freeze, and we swapped them out for the tools like Super Lay ISO and Super Lay Freeze, which are better. So let's take a look at some of these items. So here I am in FXCAD 2021. Before we actually look at those new items, I kind of wanted to go through a little bit of settings and custom user interface. One of a common question that we get when installing a new version of AutoCAD or FXCAD is how do I migrate my settings over from a previous version? And so the AutoCAD way of doing that is to actually go into your applications here and go down to your AutoCAD version and click on the Migrate from Previous Release button. And when you do that, you can select the previous release and migrate the settings over. You do have to close CAD to do that. and it takes quite a bit of time. So that's one way to do it. That's the AutoCAD method of migrating your settings. However, we don't recommend doing this because every year we change things. The menus change, and there are new tools and new features. And if you bring in your settings, those tools or features can be overlooked, or they won't be available in your menus. So instead, we recommend, if you have a new version of CAD, especially FXCAD, take the time to get familiar with what is available in the ribbon, the different tools that are available, and if there are certain settings that you do want to apply to it, to do that afterwards. And it usually doesn't take that much time to go through and customize these items. Let's put this down below the ribbon. Also, if you're used to an older version of AutoCAD, if it's a few years old, you might still be working with toolbars. And this is a thing that has been discontinued. But if you still kind of want that experience, the closest thing we have is the quick access toolbar, which is this toolbar here. And you can fully customize this. So I kind of want to show you how you can customize this, put items in it, and also how you can customize your ribbon if you do want to bring in some customization. To do that, you're going to need to go to your custom user interface. And there's a couple ways to get to that, but my way of doing it, because I like my keyboard shortcuts, is just to type CUI in the command line and press enter. And that brings up your custom user interface. And the way that this works is that you have your menus here in this top window, and they're set up like folder trees. And so if we look at let's say our quick access toolbars, which is this toolbar here, we could expand that, and it shows the different commands that are applied to it. And it's ordered in the way that from top to bottom is how it's ordered from left to right in the toolbar. And so currently I have customized a couple of items. I've put in just a few examples of commands in here. But if I wanted to add more commands, all you have to do is go to your command list window, which is this bottom window here. This is basically just a pool of all the different commands that are available in the product. And I can type in, say I want something from the plant ribbon. I can type in a keyword here, and it'll filter out all of the other non-related commands. So maybe I want edit plant to be available in my quick access toolbar because I use it all the time. And for some reason, I'm not in the planting ribbon when I want to use that tool. All I have to do is click on edit plant and drag it up and place it into my quick access toolbar. And I probably want it to show up on the right side of all my other tools. So I just drop it right there, and it's going to show up right up here in that quick access toolbar when I hit apply. And there it is. And if I wanted some additional ones, maybe I wanted something from the admin tab, like maybe work area. So new work area. And also notice that under the source column, it tells you whether or not they're AutoCAD commands or LandFX commands. So if I wanted to throw in my new work area, maybe I want it to be right before the layer list combo box. I can drop it right there and hit apply. And it drops it in. Alternatively, if you don't want to go through the CUI, wait for it to update. To customize my quick access toolbar, maybe I just want to go find the tools in my ribbon and apply them. I can just go into whichever one I want to use. Maybe I want to use the scale tool, and I can right click on it and choose add to quick access toolbar. So a very quick way to start adding tools to your toolbar here, if that's what you want to do. And of course, if you do that, it places it on the right side. And then the same process that we showed before for the CUI can be applied to customizing your ribbons. So if you open up your ribbon tabs, you get to see all the different options that are available, and you can unfold those and add commands in to your ribbon as well. So still totally customizable. All right. So let's show a couple of these new features. First one, I want to show the XREF compare, because I think that's probably my favorite of the new features of this year. Say you're working on the planting plan, and someone makes changes to the hardscape, and you want to know what those changes are in case it affects how your planting plan is going to look. So if someone were to go in, maybe delete a table, maybe move this around, maybe take out a bench, maybe they put some more receptacles on the path here. Not a very good design, but changes are made. And you want to quickly know what those changes are when you get that file back, so you can be working on your planting plan with the most updated version. And you also want to be aware of what changes were made. So that drawing is saved. And I should be getting a message here, I think, because I closed it already. Let's try it. All right, so I make changes, just the table this time, and I save. And now when you get this notification that the XREF was modified, you click reload. You can check the option to compare changes. And it's going to bring up the drawing compare window. So you can see that the table that I just moved used to be here in the red. That's where it was removed or moved. And it's been moved over here. The green segment. Cool. Yeah, so the green shows where a new addition is, or where something has moved to, versus where it was taken away from or deleted. Additionally, you can open up these settings for this, and say it gets really complicated. You can toggle. Let's move this over. You can move this out of the way by just clicking on the top here and dragging it. You can toggle on off the visibility of these items. So maybe you just want to see the additions or where things are moved and not necessarily where they're deleted from. You can toggle that off. Or if you want to just see what was removed or removed, you can turn off the new items here. You can toggle off the parts of that same XREF that haven't been altered whatsoever. That's what's in gray. So if you just want to see the changes. And then of course, if you want to hide anything that's not being compared. And then if things are on top of each other, so if I didn't like the draw order, I could adjust the draw order between what's taken away and what's new. Additionally, and it's easier to see if I zoom in, but around each of these new items, there is a rev cloud. And so if I want to take off the rev cloud, maybe it's distracting, I can hide that. I can change the color of the rev cloud that points it out. Maybe I want like a blue, and it'll update those. And when I have other XREFs to compare later on, like if I reload this after making more changes, the rev cloud display will remain. And of course, you can adjust the size just to make it a lot easier to see. You can also turn off hatches in the compare drawing if it's too cluttered with all these different hatch patterns, or if maybe you have a lot of labels and text that are just getting in the way and making it hard to see what you're working with, you can toggle those off and on as well. So once you're done comparing it, maybe if you want to keep track of this, you take screenshots of changes or take mental notes. Additionally, you can toggle between the changes with the arrows. But once you're done, click the green arrow, and it's going to reload that XREF. So really cool feature, jumping off the feature from last year, which is DWG compare, which is very similar, but not with XREFs. So let's look at the new trim.
Well, and on that, so you're saying, I guess so it is just kind of a visual comparing, like Lou just kind of asked in the chat, is there any way to like kind of print that comparison? I guess it's just a visual thing, because it would be kind of nice to be able to print that in color, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and so my thoughts on that are taking a screenshot and keeping those, and if you needed to print it out, have that
exactly. Yeah.
available.
Hey,
there.
Maybe they'll add a print with color option with then 22.
It seems like that would be a logical next step for that feature. I was looking around for a way to maybe save, whether it's it's an image or save a previous version, so you can kind of see what changes over time, but didn't see that working. But I think for now, I'd recommend using your screen capture tool to.
Exactly. And also, I mean, the original, the drawing compare that, first came out, last year. I mean, they've really been improving on it. And, obviously it's just yet another reason to stay with latest, because, you get these cool new features and they do get improved each year.
Correct. So in addition to that, the trim command, let's just show that real quick. You can find the trim. I believe it's in Home. If you want to find it in the ribbon, there's a trim button here. Or what I like to do is just type in trim, because no matter what changes come to the ribbon or menus in the future, I know that if I type in trim, it's going to activate that command. It's the reason I like memorizing those keyboard shortcuts, because menus change, toolbars aren't there anymore, but I can always rely on those keyboard shortcuts for basic AutoCAD commands. So type in trim. Now it kind of looks like I did before, where you select items, but I don't have to select my cutting edge anymore. Now I can simply just start clicking on lines, and it recognizes all other lines as trimming edges. So I can just very quickly start trimming. Additionally, now if I hold down my mouse, it enables the fencing option. So I can now draw my fence, and basically anything that this fence line touches, it trims it. If you want to revert to how it used to be, which is, choosing your cutting edges or the crossing mode, you can still do that. Down here, type T, and now you can choose your trimming edges just like you did before, and then select your items to trim. And if you want to go back to the windowed selection or crossing mode, type C and enter. And now you draw your selection windows. Oh, and another one is you can now activate the extend command while in the middle of trimming. So let's say I've trimmed that line, and now I want to extend this line up. I just need to hold down the shift key, and if I click on that, it auto extends while in the middle of the trim. So you don't have to go back between extend and trim if you're going through and altering, a bunch of line work such as that. So really neat, makes it a lot faster to do these kind of actions in this current setup. Let's see, another new feature here, let's look at this drawing, is the break at point, which is available here in the ribbon under the divide break drop-down menu. Break at point has been improved, so now you can track along lines and break at specific lengths. To use this though, you do have to set some things up that might not be default settings. Down here, you need to have object snap tracking on. If you don't see it down in this little menu, open up this hamburger menu here and check the object snap tracking here. And then you want to make sure that this is on. And also with your snap settings, you want to make sure that extension is selected. But once you do that, you can now break at point by first selecting a line and then hover your mouse over one of the snap points, like this endpoint here. And it's subtle. Let's do it again. But there's a slight change in how the cursor looks, right? And that basically that small change from the pick box looking thing to now the tracking allows you to now drag your mouse. And even though my mouse is going away from it a little bit, it's still basically snapping to that track. And I can just click anywhere to break the point at that point, but I can also, or break the line at that point. But I can also, while in the middle of that tracking, just type in a length, say 1.5 feet, and it gave me a precise breakpoint at 1.5 feet from where I started tracking. So more accuracy at the break at point tool. It's pretty neat. Now also rev clouds have been enhanced. If you want to draw a revision cloud, just type rev cloud in the command line, press enter. And just like before, you can specify the arc length and all these different options before you start drawing. But I just draw my revision cloud. And the new feature is that it is in properties. It's now a rev cloud item. It's no longer polyline. And so if I want to change the arc length on my revision cloud, I can change that and hit enter, and it changes all of those arc lengths automatically. Before you had to redraw the entire rev cloud. So I think those are most of the features I wanted to show. Additionally, we do have, as I said before, various tools that are AutoCAD tools that we've replaced with better LandFX ones. If you open up your mirror dropdown, we have our FX mirror, which is basically a way to mirror objects that have LandFX data without destroying the data or making it not work properly. as it can happen if you use the AutoCAD mirror command, though we do include both options here if you prefer one over the other. Same with move copy. We've got our xcopy and xcorow commands. Again, those are tools that allow you to copy and rotate items that have LandFX data. And so it doesn't break the data as you use those tools. So I definitely recommend you go through these. And one more that I haven't shown yet is the improvements to the quick measure. I knew there was one more. So the quick measure tool is located in the home tab here in the ribbon. And this is neat. Ooh, my mouse is really jumping around. Let me see if I can fix that. So basically where I point my mouse, if it's in an enclosed area, it gives me the measurements of the the X and the Y length within, so that you can quickly measure an area or lengths to a closed area. And before you could click in the area and it shows you very quickly what the area and the perimeter are for that closed boundary. But the new addition is now you can hold down the shift key and click, hold down the shift key. There we go. And while holding the shift key, you can click in other areas and it adds those areas and the perimeter to those measurements. So now if I had multiple areas that I wanted to quickly see the area for, I could use this and just very quickly see that. So let's go back to here. And take a look at some of the frequently asked questions. Maybe we can knock off some of those questions coming in. This is a great resource before we get there for finding out more about FXCAD 2021. This is our webpage. So, and you can get to it directly from our homepage or just do a search for FXCAD. It has a great amount of information on it. Basically everything that we covered in the webinar today. So let's go through some of these questions. One that we get, and one I already did cover, but let's just do it again. Can I use FXCAD without LandFX? And no, it is required that you have a LandFX license, whether that's planting effects, design effects, or irrigation effects, to run FXCAD. That's really the only way that we can offer FXCAD for the price that it is. And the purpose of it is to be running your LandFX licenses. Does FXCAD include a LandFX license? That's a good one. And no, it is still, just like with AutoCAD, it's a separate item. It's the platform for running your LandFX licenses. So FXCAD does not include any of the planting, design, or irrigation licenses. If you have Civil 3D 2021, can you install FXCAD 2021? And no. Basically, the same goes for AutoCAD 2021. I don't know why you'd have both, but if you did, you basically can't have the same version of a CAD platform on your computer twice. So no to that. There is a bit of a new activation process for FXCAD 2021. Before you sent in, if you've done it before, you sent in a request code to get a specific installation code to then install once. Now, AutoCAD or Autodesk has changed this a bit. So you won't have a request code or any of that. Instead, you get a unique serial number and product key, serial number. So no more request code activation for that. and we kind of manage that. So as soon as you buy, you should be ready to go. Speaking of which, if you do activate or you try to activate, it might take a little bit of time to get that activation cleared with Autodesk. So you could be waiting up to 1 or 2 days. Luckily, there is a 30-day trial, just like with AutoCAD. So you can still run the full version of FXCAD. There's no limits to the trial while you wait for your activation if it doesn't come right away. And basically, and this question comes up a lot: how many computers can you install your one FXCAD license on? And it's basically set up so that you can have one installation at your office, and then one, say, on a laptop for travel or on a home computer. So essentially, it's 2 per license. And this was covered before, but if you have multiple seats, can use the same serial number on all of those. And no, it's different this year. You get a unique serial number. And can you install on a home computer or laptop? And yes, you can. I think we've gone through most of these. I'd like to tackle any questions coming in from the viewers at this moment, if there are any.
Well, I think you've answered everything I can think of, so I don't see any in. But yeah, now is a great time to type in some questions if anyone has any. I think I myself, I really enjoyed your little recap of the effort here to put this beast together. It is definitely quite a crew. Our project management software has all the different tasks and subtasks and assigning them, and it's really it's just pretty exciting to see, because that first FXCAD 2012 was basically just me. It's so nice to have a whole team that all comes together, and we just end up basically installing it over and over and over and over again. At least where I'm closest to the to Bennett and the tech team. The other guys are working on the graphics and the other things, and we just every year push the bounds a little more of what we can do. Can we make anything a little more streamlined and everything? So we're definitely really happy with it and very proud of it. So I do hope that shows a bit. I hope you guys notice that and can appreciate it. But yeah, since I don't see any questions, I can't really think of anything else, unless I guess Lulu did ask if the XREF compare, does it only work if the drawings are not closed?
That's a good question. We could find out right now. I don't think it matters, but that would be a guess. So let's save these real quick before I do anything. Let's say I make changes to my planting plan. Take that tree, maybe I move this palm over here for some reason, and I save it, and I close it.
You should be able to just go to the XREF manager to reload it.
Needs reloading. Compare. Oh. There we go. So that's another way you can get to the compare box there, is by right-clicking on that in the XREF manager. Yeah, so the drawing is closed, and the basically the previous version of that XREF that is still saved in there, so you can compare even after the drawing is closed.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is the hallmark feature of this version, and It understandably can be a little frustrating, I suppose, is maybe one of the best word, but how each version of AutoCAD seems to have, maybe one cool new feature. I mean, agreed, but that's the beauty of frankly, how this perpetual license works with the low upgrade cost is, don't jump 5 versions of CAD and have to deal with a whole bunch of new things. You do upgrade every year, every other year, and you just have a little bit to deal with, so it's a lot easier impact on you. And just always keeping your computers up to date and keeping your software running, and it's just being a better way to do things. I know, I think we've all kind of fallen into that habit of, you have your favorite version of some piece of software and it gets to be 7 and 8 and 9 years old, and everybody else in the office is making fun of you because you have the old version. And it really is better to just stay basically current. You don't have to be the exact current version, but I think within a year or two is obviously a more responsible, better place to be. And one thing you didn't mention, that I also wanted to mention, is another really great reason to go with FXCAD is, obviously this is what we use to shoot all of our videos, like this great webinar. And so, when we say, oh, click this button and so on, you're looking at the exact same interface, as opposed to, if you have AutoCAD and, who knows how you have your ribbon or toolbars configured. And so it's just that much, just a teeny bit harder to, follow one of our power tip videos or our webinar. And, so just to get a real maximum benefit from all of our training resources and videos, I think is definitely a good reason to go with it. So, hey, Paul, I think, we're going to call it and get ready for lunch. So I want to wish everyone a happy and safe weekend, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Alrighty. Yes, thanks for attending. And of course, if you have any questions that you think of after, go ahead and email us at support@landfx.com, and we'll be happy to answer those for you. Have a good weekend.